Hello, I'm Marie, the host of Vinyl City Broadcasting, your transit express to rock and roll trivia. Did you notice? The visual of the pyramids to start the show. You Belong to Me playing in the background. And the comp billboard cover on the back wall. Yes, our special guest today is Tony Testa of the Duprees. We're going to be doing the interview across the way in our newly designed VCB Zoom room, as we like to call it. But first, I've asked Rico if he could run some partial clips of the Duprees performing at one of the many fabulous doo-wop shows that aired on PBS. The first one is You Belong to Me. The second one is My Own True Love. Run the videos, Rico. So what did you think of those stellar performances? Classic group, classic songs, and classic venue, wouldn't you agree? It makes you just want to fall in love all over again. Now I need to go next door to start the interview with Tony. Please join me. You look terrific, Tony. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. You look great too.
Appreciate that. You know, that Jersey air and New York accent work well together.
Well, I've had to contend with a lot of people because of it.
I understand. You know, Rico and I were so glad we were finally able to get together with you to do this interview. He even bought me this new derby for the occasion. What do you think?
It's very unique and distinctive. I love it.
Thank you. You know, we've always loved the songs of the Duprees. And now we'll be able to ask you some questions that our Vinyl City Broadcasting audience would like to know. Are you ready for your first question?
Fire away.
I'll try and go easy on you. Now, Tony, we read you were one of the original guitarists for the Duprees during the early years. How did you make the transition from guitar to singing with the group?
It's been a long process. As you said, in the early 60s, I had my own cover group that we performed. And one of the greatest things that we were asked to do was to be the backup band for many acts of the day. Mm-hmm. And being that we basically were from the same tri-state area, I used to be asked to back up the Duprees. And that was a joy. And that's how I originally became intimate with all of them and knowing them as friends throughout the years. I guess because they knew that I really enjoyed the music, being that it actually predated the rock and roll era with songs like You Belong to Me and Have You Heard. And that's where my initial inclination to be a part of that music was always there. That's why I think they appreciated that I was able to play their music. So then we went through a whole period of years, and then we kind of lost contact with each other. And we reemerged mid-'80s when Michael Arnone, one of the original members, asked me to come back and in his inimitable way said, "Tony, can you fix it?" And that was because, unfortunately, at that period of time, the group was in slight disarray. And it was a labor of love. To make a long story short, it meant going full circle for me because I was able to organize music for the group, the arrangements, the harmony. I should say rearrange it. And Michael was very much proud of me doing that throughout the years. As you said, I played guitar, and at that point in time, I was playing guitar because, quite honestly, it was very necessary for me to use it as a tool for performing on stage with the group, so they'd have segues to songs and so on, and rhythm and tempo and style. But after a number of years, I was able to reorganize the musicians in the group and literally put my guitar down because I really thought it was a better look for the group having four singers in front and the band behind. So that in a nutshell is how my guitar history came about.
Well, you certainly, Tony, did a wonderful job of helping reorganize the group. I'm so glad you got that call from Michael. And today we have this wonderful sound of the Duprees with us. Appreciate that.
Well, that's been a labor of love, literally, because It's nothing better, as you know. As you go through life, if you have any kind of job or avocation, you want to be able to love it. And I've been able to do what I love, literally, since I graduated college. So here I am.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to be able to say, I love what I do. I agree. Now, the Duprees have always had that classy appearance when you come out on the stage to perform. And adding to that, a wonderful mixture of romance, energy, and fun in the songs that you sing. That's a potent combination that's indisputable, isn't it?
It really is. And, you know, I really came, when I redeveloped the way that we perform on stage, it wouldn't be literally us getting on stage and doing a whole bunch of beautiful, beautiful love songs. I come from the old school of entertainment, which means you entertain everybody in totality, meaning you sing the songs, you obviously sing them well, and you treat people as equals and friends, and you interact with them to make them feel comfortable with you as a performer, not as some two-dimensional object on stage. And to that end, I think the way we perform now is to that end. We not only do those beautiful songs and intertwine them with some up-tempo songs and some jokes here and there, not that we're comics, but to liven up the atmosphere where people feel comfortable in any kind of circumstance.
Yes, we always appreciate when artists interact with the audience, and of course that the music touches our hearts the way it does. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Excuse me. Now, how and why was the name the Duprees chosen?
That's kind of interesting. When the group first started out, well, I should say in early '62, just before You Belong to Me became a hit,
Yes.
George Paxton, who was the owner of Coed Records, said to the group, who was known at the time as the Parisians, he said, the Parisians is not really a cool name. You should really change it. Well, everybody thought about it. And when Michael retells this story to me, it's quite comical. They really thought about it left and right, and they couldn't come up with anything until the day they realized that one of the guys in the neighborhood, his last name was Duprees. And they said, well, that's a pretty cool name. And you know what? It even sounds a little French.
Yes, it does.
So George Paxton said, you got it. That's the way we're going to go with it.
Oh, well, a classy name for a classy group. I like it.
There you go.
Now, can you give us a brief synopsis of yourself and some of the other members in the group today, Tommy, Jimmy, and Phil?
They're just unequivocally the best entertainers in the world, and they trust me with my judgment. The way I run a show is literally off the cuff. I give my musical director the first 2 or 3 songs, and then I read, quote unquote, read an audience to determine where the next song or the next segment should go. So that's been fun. And as I said, the other 3 guys and the band members all kind of glued to me. What's Tony going to do now? But Tommy Patillo is our lead singer, and he's an incredibly talented guy. And he has so much history with the group because he was actually a member of the Duprees in the late '60s, just before they kind of somewhat disbanded. So he has an intimate knowledge and intimate friendship with all of the guys. So when our previous lead singer decided to bow out, I reached out to Tommy because he was such a logical choice to point to. And obviously he came in with open arms and has done an incredible job for almost 20 years now. Phil Granito has a great history too, and so exceptional a talent he is. He was with the original members again at the end of their being in the early 90s, I should say. And what he brings to the table is a unique talent to do a lot of different things. He's got a terrific voice, but we specialize in literally every show with his Jackie Wilson medley. It's a trio of songs that were done by such an icon as Jackie Wilson. And it absolutely floors the audience. It is always gets a standing ovation. So he's remarkably talented. And Jimmy Spinelli, too, comes from a background of wonderful singers. He was with Vito and the Salutations for 20 years, actually. And in the early 90s, when we asked him to join the Duprees, he, again, with open arms, came in. And he brings to the table such a talent and such a heart for show business. His mainstay is doing songs like Bobby Darin songs, and he's a great second tenor and a delight to be on stage with every time.
Oh, that's wonderful, Tony. Such a cohesive group, so much talent, and turning out this beautiful music. We appreciate it. Now, the Duprees had multiple hits over the years, including You Belong to Me, Why Don't You Believe Me, My Own True Love, and Have You Heard? What's your favorite? And which song does your audience always ask you to sing for them?
Well, obviously, the biggest hit is You Belong to Me, and
of course,
we never end the show without ending the show with that, because it would be a little premature to do it anywhere in the show.
Right.
But as far as favorites, I think we're all of us are asked this question, and I always relate it to the fact I have children, and if someone asked me which is your favorite child, I would say they're each my favorite for different reasons. Of course.
Yes.
Well, maybe we don't have a favorite child. But seriously, each song is inherently beautiful, and the harmonies, as you well know, are so beautiful to sing. They're not easy. They're not the typical street corner, not to be disparaging about street corner or doo-wop, But the songs from our era, Duprees era songs, really come from the late 40s and 50s with the big band sound.
The big band sound, yes.
And the melodies and the harmonies that are required for those songs are not easy, but they're so much fun to sing. And that's why I think we enjoy every one of them. My personal favorite is, you know what, I was just going to say a couple of other ones, but It Isn't Fair. Now, that's not a big hit, but it was a mild hit for the group. But when we sing the bridge to that song, there's a descending number of notes from all three of us that come down, and that array of harmony coming down to me is so much fun every time we sing it. I look forward to that one each night.
Oh, okay. It's called, it's not, what is it?
It Isn't Fair.
It Isn't Fair. I'm going to look that up. And of course, Rico was commenting, I'm walking around the house today humming, of course, Have You Heard, you know, and getting in that mood.
Yeah, well, there are so many favorites from people, and you know, it's so remarkable to see as a sidelight, especially when we come to the end of the show with You Belong to Me.
Yeah.
You look out over the audience and you invariably see husbands and wives reaching over, holding hands, looking at each other, giving each other a kiss, and really relishing in the moment of remembering the song as it was done initially. And I think that's why I've always made it a concerted effort to always, to the band members, to the singers, always recreate the song the way it was originally intended. Because that's what allows people to remember it now.
Yes, and we appreciate our memories. We really do.
Yeah.
Now, is there a song that the Duprees turned down that another group picked up and made successful? Or, on the other hand, is there a song that someone else turned down and the Duprees picked up and made it successful?
There were a number of songs throughout the years, hit and miss as far as which group could get it done first. But the one that sticks out in my mind for the Duprees is My Special Angel. It became a hit for the Vogues. The Vogues are very good friends of ours. They're from the Pittsburgh area, and they do a really incredible job at it. But the Duprees also recorded it as well, but it did not become a big hit for them.
Oh, I see. My Special Angel.
Yeah, great song. You are my special angel, and so on.
Sounds good to me. Tony, was there any other groups that were influential in your career growing up?
Lots. As a musician, many guitarists from the early days, from rock and roll to jazz. I just loved the guitar. As far as singers or groups were concerned, oh my goodness, there were so many groups. I really can't pinpoint. Little Anthony and the Imperials, again, very dear friends of ours. But as we were growing up, those songs, because again, with them, they're interesting songs. They weren't always typically street corner songs. And some of the singers that I grew up, being that I had two older sisters who predated me, they had favorites like Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett, Nat King Cole, and I as well did. I learned to love wonderful groups like the Hi-Lo's and the Four Freshmen. Again, predating the doo-wop era, but because of their harmonies and jazz influence, I just loved the music because it was more interesting than street corner stuff. We used to, everybody had a street corner where you'd have a soda shop. And during high school, invariably, I'd be asked by some of my friends, hey, Tony, can you help me chime up to In the Still of the Night or Daddy's Home? And that was easy to me, you know, because the harmonies, even though they're beautiful, are very, very simple, straightforward harmonies. So it was kind of comical, but it was a lot of fun.
It's important to have fun. And so thank you for that history of your musical background, your influences. Very informative. Appreciate that. Could you give us a piece of trivia that no one knows about you or the Duprees that you want to share with our VCB audience today? It could be funny or serious, but nothing from your website, social media sites, or other publications. Something
Trivia. Well,
trivia.
throughout the years, and it's been many, many years, we have the most incredible fans in the world, literally. They are so adoring and so admiring that there are fans that we've had for years that come out to multiple concerts. I mean, multiple concerts within a month or a week.
Oh
And
my
it's
goodness.
unbelievable. And I would say, you were just here the other night in this venue, and now you're over here, and they just love it. But one interesting story has to do with when we were in Las Vegas last year. We were for the first time invited to come to Las Vegas. And there's a gentleman from Hawaii, Milton, I forget his last name, forgive me. And he absolutely loved the Duprees and loved the song The Sand in the Sea, which again wasn't a big hit for the group, but it's one of our most requested songs. And he said, me and my wife are coming to Las Vegas from Hawaii, and we'd love to meet you and hear you sing The Sand in the Sea. Well, when he did come, I made sure he got a good table. And on stage, I introduced him and I announced the fact that he was a remarkable story in that he was coming all that way for his anniversary and wanted to hear The Sand in the Sea. And everybody was ooh and ah. And it was a great moment for the Duprees and for Milton, I might say.
Well, that's a very sweet story, Tony. Really appreciate The Sand in the Sea. Another song I have to listen to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay. We'll do it. Now, are there any new projects that you guys are working on in the near future that you'd like to share with us?
We've been able to record a lot of different CDs in recent years, in the last 20 years, I'd say. And to that end, each recording has a kind of identity and a signature sound of its own, with the idea of us trying to reach out and do different songs. Like, for instance, most recently we recorded a CD of Frank Sinatra songs.
Oh, Frank Sinatra.
And
okay.
A lot of them would not be conducive to harmony, especially Duprees harmony, but we chose some that were.
Oh, I see.
And it came out beautifully. And before that, we had one called The Duprees Go to the Movies, which highlighted songs that were big hits coming from motion pictures. And that was a lot of fun to do. Then we did one classic songs that were in the genre of You Belong to Me, meaning that they came from the late 40s and 50s, from the big band era. And we isolated them, and that was a ton of fun to do. We did our very first Volume 1 and Volume 2 live CD from a casino down in Atlantic City. And that was tremendous. All the CDs have been so successful. The most recent one was one commemorating what would have been the 50th anniversary of the Duprees. And that was back in 2012. And that's probably our biggest seller because it includes remakes or recordings of those songs for the very first time. You Belong to Me and Have You Heard? Doing them as specifically as they were done originally. And then the second half of the CD's indication of where we've come today, meaning like some of the songs we highlight on stage, like What I Did for Love from a chorus line, even a song that I wrote, and a few other things that are just indicative of who we have become today. And moving forward, I think we're not going to stop there. We want to keep doing what our fans would like us to do, and that's do more and more CDs.
Absolutely, Tony. And I'm so happy that you were able, as a group, to do the 50th year anniversary. That means a lot.
Oh, sure.
Yes. And of course, Frank Sinatra, you can never go doing Frank Sinatra.
Literally an icon of the music business is his enduring legacy. I mean, for someone who was an actor, a singer, an entertainer, a TV star, for 5 or 6 decades is quite remarkable.
Certainly was. You guys aren't too bad yourself, you know. So when you guys walk out on stage, like you've been doing for the last 60 plus years, what kind of emotions do you feel looking out in the audience, knowing that all these folks have come out to hear the Duprees perform?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge because you can never walk out on stage presuming that you're going to be liked, adored, or entertained for that matter. And I always say to the guys before walking on stage, you know, these people in that audience, even though some of them have seen us before, a lot of them haven't. And by the way, they really don't care what you did on the last show. They want to see and hear what you're going to do today, for tonight, for them. And that's what brings on that challenge for all of us to present ourselves as intimate and as today and right now, not cookie cutter. Like I said earlier, I never script a show. And that's what I think is another element to why all of us on that stage have an element of unpredictability, and we're always ready for the next thing. So that's what makes it fun and challenging for me too, because I'm the one who has to kind of foresee how I want the rest of this show to go. So I do through, over the years, I've developed a series of hand signals with my musical director. We may be ending a song and I'll give a signal with my hand to them as we're going like this, and then I'll give the downbeat to end the song, and he'll already know what the next song is. So it's quite fun, and it makes everybody on top of their game, which I love.
Yes. Well, you're certainly up to the challenge, Tony, and you've put together a wonderful mixture of romance and fun, and we do appreciate it. What an interview. Thank you so much. So before we let you go, Tony, we have a parting gift for you in the Duprees. Unfortunately, we're not able to present it to you personally, but Rico did send a copy for you to look at, and we hope you were pleased with it.
Oh, yeah. You sent that billboard kind of thing opening. It's unbelievable. I showed it off to the guys already. Oh. It's really beautifully done.
Well, that was important to show it to the guys. Thank you. And so, like you said, it's a billboard comp cover that Rico designed for you and the group specifically. And we're going to post it on our screen so our viewers out in VCB land can see it also. Rico, could you do that, please? I'll read what it says. It says, "Have you heard? You belong to me, to all our devoted fans from around the world. A wonderful mixture of romance, energy, and fun. Thank you, Tony and the Duprees, for all the great romantic music you have shared with us over the years." Now,
thank you. You guys have been terrific, and I'm honored to have been on with you.
Appreciate that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our VCB audience before we close the show?
No, you just made it a very memorable moment for me, and highlighting the Duprees, so I really, really appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you. And we want to thank you for taking the time to do the interview with us. And I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Oh, we did. Thank you so much, Marie.
You're welcome. Now, when this COVID pandemic is behind us and promoters put together shows again for all of us, we're hoping they'll book you in the Duprees so we can finally meet you in person. Thank you again.
Now, that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
We would absolutely look forward to that. Great interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back in the VCB studio, as you can see. Did you catch some of the things that maybe you didn't know about the Duprees? The choice to change the name to the Duprees from the Parisians was a good choice. Glad there was a guy in the neighborhood with the last name Duprees. Cool name, and has a touch of French flavor. Good combo. The group is always building and adding to their song selections. Adding the Jackie Wilson medley of songs was a nice addition to the show. How about Milton? A devoted fan flying all the way over to Vegas from Hawaii just to hear the song The Sand and the Sea for his anniversary. Certainly a great moment for the Duprees, and more so for Milton and his wife. Great story. The Duprees have a number of CDs available that our audience can purchase from their website. The Songs from the Big Band Era CD, Happy 100th Mr. Sinatra CD, and of course, the Duprees 50th Anniversary CD. Also, other CDs and memorabilia. So interesting and informative. We just love to hear rock and roll trivia and stories, especially about the Duprees. So VCB audience, go to their website, www.duprees.com, and maybe purchase some CDs and other Duprees memorabilia. Also, any of you promoters out there that would like to book the Duprees for your next show or event, their contact information will be on our last slide. We hope that all of our subscribers and friends out there enjoyed the interview as much as we did with Tony Testa of the Duprees. Bookmark our YouTube channel, Vinyl City Broadcasting, so you don't miss any of our future interviews. Rico, why don't we catch the Long Island Railroad out of the city to Rockaway Beach, Tony's old hometown? I'd love to see the area. We'd like to close the show by saying, have you heard Tony Testa? You belong to all your fans worldwide.
My